Adam Taxon talking with Daniel Greenfield about his Monday, May 28th, 2012 column, In the 16th Year of Obama, a Scientific Romance on the Year 2024, which is a satire. Daniel, welcome.
Good to do this again.
Okay, you write at the end, after a long satirical piece, that this piece is meant to be a parody of socialist futuristic tracts from the late 19th century, such as Looking Backward. Now, Looking Backward isn't that well known by people, so maybe you can give us a little bit of a background about these types of tracts that are, most of us haven't read.
It's actually an interesting subset of literature that's been mostly forgotten. For example, people think of H.G. Wells in terms of the Martians arriving and blasting away people with death rays, but what's actually going on in the late 19th century and to some extent the early 20th century to the mid-20th century was that you had these socialist tracts of this kind of futuristic pieces that were showing what the world was going to be like if you implemented socialism. One of the more influential ones was Edward Bellamy's Looking Backward in 1897, which had a visitor from the president of his day going forward in time to experience what the world would be like under a properly disciplined socialist system where everything was controlled by the government. And this was very influential. It touched off discussion clubs and it was taken very seriously. It wasn't, it's not the way science fiction is treated today.
And they generally had a positive impression based on at least what you've written about socialism, right?
Sure. Well, they had the idea that if we can organize everything, make everything rational and scientific, they love those words, then we can build a society where everything works exactly the way it's supposed to.
Now, your parody, your satire here, is not exactly comprehensive. It's really focused on one aspect of today's life and what the trends would be for that in the future, the educational establishment. And maybe, obviously, people who have read this already know the point that you're trying to make, and it's, no offense, not that original a point. Your point is that, that it's a big means to debt, and that the degrees are largely useless. Am I getting the right impression of what the message you're trying to send is?
Yes, it's a system where everyone is supposed to be educated endlessly, where no one actually learns anything, and where we're constantly spending more and more money on a system that isn't actually supposed to do anything except employ teachers' unions.
Yeah, and I thought an interesting point was not only do you not learn anything in school, but you learn so much garbage that you're prevented from actually learning things that you might on your own, and I hadn't really thought about it that way. A lot of our top people in American history are self-educated, but if you have to do, busy work, you're not going to have the opportunity to learn on one's own, like, say, George Washington, Ben Franklin, and Abraham Lincoln, and even more contemporarily, Eric Hoffer did. No,
it's a signal-to-noise situation. If you distribute enough noise, you're going to block out any kind of signal, and a lot of what's out there, from entertainment to the more supposedly serious education, is noise. It's noise that's supposed to occupy your attention, block you from doing anything functional with your mind.
Yeah, it's funny. I think about these things like just people who are perfectly nice people who would be an 18-year-old girl I know from the Jewish community here in Philadelphia. She's not a student. She's a perfectly nice, pretty girl, but I don't know why she's going to college for 4 years. I mean, she's just not a scholar. And it's just like, what's she going to waste 4 valuable years of her life for?
That's the ritual of adulthood.
I guess so.
That's what it's now supposed to do.
Of course, it makes people more infantile than actually becoming an adult would do. But what do I do?
Well, yes, that's the side effect. You want the rituals of adulthood that don't actually produce adulthood.
Yeah, extended. Well, you know what? One last thing. I read something that 100 years ago, there was not even a concept of teenagehood, or maybe 150 years ago. It was just a new phenomenon. And you read a book like Gone with the Wind, and there's no concept of even being a teenager. And, it's just kind of remarkable to me. I read a column.
Yes, it wasn't a thing, and it was very specifically embedded, and now we're getting an extended version where teenagerhood is no longer for teenagers. It's now this extended post-adolescence that stretches into the 30s and maybe even the 40s.
Right. Okay, well, the column is In the 16th Year of Obama, a scientific romance of the year 2024, and it's a satire, and I recommend you all read it because this is just a supplement. All right, Daniel Greenfield, thanks for your time.